Egyptian animal mummies were an important part of ancient life. But why? Hello guys, welcome back. We are here with another interesting video. In this video we are going to talk about Egyptian animal mummies. But before we start, be sure to subscribe and press the bell icon if you are new to this channel. Around 1500 BC, the Egyptians began mummifying animals en masse. Over the years, archaeologists have discovered millions of Egyptian mummies in the Holy Land. The Egyptians were known to worship their cat gods and mummified their cats. However, they also feed on many animals such as gazelles, baboons, dogs, cows, lions, bulls, hawks and even hippos. So why did the Egyptians go to such lengths and even spend money to protect their animals? Egyptian embalmers meticulously mummified animals. Some have gilded faces and richly decorated tombs. Woven linen wraps the animal, which is usually soaked in some type of resin. Why did the Egyptians mummify animals? Scientists believe that animals were mummified for four main reasons. 1. The Egyptians prayed to idols as intermediaries between them and their animal gods. 2. Mummies are used as sacrifices to the gods in temples. 3. An animal loved as a mummy will enter the hereafter as a companion of its owner. 4. Animals can become food after death. Paganism. As an animistic culture, the Egyptians believed that God would be everywhere and in everything. Their belief that animals were symbols of gods and goddesses led them to create idols such as statues and mummies. Sometimes mummified animals are buried in statues. The Egyptians revered the incarnation of the gods in animals and statues. Votive offerings. Worship is usually held in Egyptian temples, where priests make offerings to the gods. Animal mummies can be given to the priests of the temple or left there as votive offerings, just as the Catholics left candles. However, many animal mummies have been found in various sacred temples. Perhaps a devotee thanked the mummy for some kind of blessing or sacrifice of a vigil. Cooperation in the hereafter. Besides being used as idols, animals are loved and, accordingly, their animals are mummified when their master dies. This idea is based on the Egyptian belief that life will live forever as long as certain conditions exist, such as a mummy and a tomb containing everything necessary for the next world. British Museum. In honor of Bastet the cat. Bastet or Bast is a goddess. Worship of Bastet in ancient Egyptian religion dates back to 2890 BC in Lower Egypt as the goddess of war. During the 22nd dynasty, worshippers transformed him from a lion-like warrior into a protected cat. In memory of the falcon Horus. As mentioned above, the Egyptians worship the falcon god Horus. The falcon mummy below is in a private collection and dates to the Ptolemaic period of 332 to 30 BC. Highlights include two tones of linen woven in geometric patterns, a plaster face with dyed hawk features, and a triple wig that falls off the shoulders. The mummification work. Mummification is a luxury and a science. Before and during the mummification, a special group of priests recited prayers and performed the necessary rituals. Due to the wide demand for animal mummies, all businesses are exposed, sold or transferred from a particular area. Scientists estimate that the number of Egyptian animal mummies was more than 70 million from 380 BC to 400 AD. They found 8 million well-kept dogs in just one site. In addition, archaeologists also found about 30 mummified animal tombs, stacked from head to toe with millions of mummies. Most of the mummies studied by experts are whole or half animals. But about a third of the animal mummies that experts have observed do not contain animals. These have only rods or feathers. While some sources immediately concluded that it was a hoax, other influential research groups, such as the University of Pennsylvania's Department of Anthropology, said that the empty mummy would not be the result of injustice. Blank animal mummies description. There are many reasons to purchase an animal mummy. Some scientists think that animal feed is not enough. Therefore, priest makes a good profit by selling the product to increase his stock and livestock farm. Another possibility is that users will not be able to afford real animal mummies. The cost of mummification will be the only cost limit. If someone wants an animal god statue, a blank mummy would also be a cheap alternative to a real statue. Of course, thoughts in the ancient world did not necessarily have physical reality. In fact, many cultures give their gods small pictures made of various materials used in sacrifices, such as humans or animals. In this way, real people and animals are saved. For this reason, empty mummies may be available to those who generally want an offering, sacrifice, or idol. Uncovering animal graves. A shocking story appeared in British Illustrated magazine. It tells the story of a local farmer digging sand near the village of Istabelander in 1888. He found a large tomb in which an apparently surprising number of cats had been mummified. Then, in recent years, many tombs like this have appeared. Early archaeologists excavating the sands of Egypt paid close attention to treasures filled with tombs of the rich and famous. But sadly, there is no interest in most of the Egyptian animal mummies. Perhaps this is because archaeologists do not appreciate their importance. But in later years, archaeology became more of a science than a hunting hobby. Scientists want to know what they can learn about culture, so it's important to preserve history. Egyptian animal mummies are a hot topic in Egyptian archaeology as they illustrate the human-animal-god relationship of the ancient Egyptians. Researcher Salima Ikram. Salima Ikram, Egyptologist and professor of zooarchaeology at the American University in Cairo. He spent a lot of time and effort studying Egyptian animal mummies. As part of her work, she wrote the details. He then presented photographs of mummified animals to the public for review. Not surprisingly, Ikram's Egypt exhibit was highly rated. The animals are well protected behind special glass. They were proud to display their linen fabrics and face paints, beaded and gilded cases, and carved limestone boxes. Some come in simple papyrus pad packaging. But instead of being buried in mass graves or discarded as useless objects, all these are now loved and cherished like gods commanding them to live. Leave a comment below about the topic you're interested in.